So let's talk about editing the harmony block. What we're going to do is we're going to press and hold the harmony button here in the effects screen. We could get in there by pressing the edit button as well, but that will jump us straight to the harmony editing screen. And what we're presented with at the top level here are a couple of controls. So we got the level of the harmonies. I can just adjust them up and down here. I've got the key. Now, of course, I've set it to auto right now because I'm playing guitar, right? So, as I play these guitar chords, I want to have the key picked up by the unit and not have to have me worry about it. If I did want to change the key, I would just use the slider here and I would select the key that the song is in. And we can talk about scale when we just go into the advanced mode in 1 second here. Then what I'm going to do after I've chosen sort of how it's going to be controlled and maybe how loud it is, I would like to choose the style of harmony. So basically just use my finger here and go through all the different styles. There's multiple voices, gets into all sorts of different kind of stuff here. Now all of these ones with say stuff like high and lower and all that, those are all based on key and scale. If you go into something like monks, let's go here, into monks or into some of these minus or plus semitones ones, those are more of a shift, which is a direct shift. So it's not dependent on the guitar. It's basically just taking my input note and saying, here's the note I'm hearing, go up 7 semitones from that and constantly follow with that 7 semitones up or 5 semitones below or any of those kinds of things. So that would be more a shift mode harmony. I'm going to jump to the voices screen very briefly here to show you something, because when we talked about the voices editing, I said that sometimes those intervals would change. They wouldn't say high and lower and octave and all that. They would say something like the semitones. You'll notice if I press voices here, all of a sudden I have just numbers of shifts in the semitones. And within that, I can select which shift I want. I can actually edit them as well. If you press and hold here, you can go in and edit the level and the panning and the portamento and the smoothing and the gender, and the shift itself is available up there. So you could go in and actually manipulate each one of those voices. But just so you know that if you're in a shift mode type preset or a shift mode style, that you're not going to see that typical high and low stuff. So just don't be sort of surprised when you see something that's a little different. Now, to get into the advanced editing mode, I would go into the edit screen here. And there's some extra stuff that I can choose from. So we've got the level of our dry voice, so you can go from having your dry voice fully mixed in with the harmony to having just the harmony voices come out. If you want a fun little mental exercise there, just turn the dry level off completely and try and sing your lead line when all you hear is a harmony coming out. It's quite challenging. You've got the humanization style, and what that does is it varies the onset timing and the pitch, not only the pitch that it comes up to or down to hit the note, but also the pitch as it goes over time. And what that does is basically put flaws into the singing, and which represents what a human would do. Not every human and very few humans are going to be able to sing a harmony like a robot. And so we give you this humanization style, and you can choose tight and natural and relaxed and all these different ones. You really have to sort of mess around with hearing them in order to get the sense of what they do. We find that subtle is better, but if you want to go for an effect and actually make it sound very interesting, something like our amateur kids style has quite a lot of humanization on it because it goes all weird all up and down and it sounds like people who are not very good singers trying to follow along with somebody. So that's a really good way of adding some humanization. You can add it as an amount from 0 to 100, so you could change, make it very subtle or add a lot more of it. There's a vibrato style in here as well, so you can choose some vibrato, the fluctuation of the pitch in there, whoa, 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 that happens that you would use in your throat to create when you're singing, your throat or your breath. And there's also an amount there as well, so you can mess around with that and see how that affects things. I've saved the scale for last. There are 6 different scales we have. We have major 1, major 2, major 3, minor 1, minor 2, and minor 3. Now these aren't some sort of theory defined, like the whole world knows that major 2 is a particular scale. It's that we have 3 major scales and 3 minor scales that are related to our guitar controlled or MIDI controlled like natural play harmonies. And what we basically say is, if you're say using major 2, which is what we use quite often for songs in a major key, and for whatever reason it's not working, you're making the harmonies, you've set your key to C and it's in C major and you're saying C major 2 and it's just not quite working out right, try C major 1, try C major or try major 3 as well, just to see whether or not the output notes that you're not liking are changed in that other style, in that other scale. And so there's 6 of those to choose from. We do have a chart online. If you look at our support system, there's a FAQ that has a chart that shows you exactly which input notes and output notes are created edited based on which scales you choose here. And of course, that's far too deep for me to go into in this section. But that gives you an overview of how you can control the harmonies. I'm going to go back really quickly just by pressing the edit button again to toggle back from the advanced mode to the regular editing mode here. And I'm going to go all the way down to our notes mode here. The notes mode stuff is essentially controlled only by MIDI. So if you're using a MIDI keyboard, you've set up your split, you'll say split below, and you say, when I play these notes, I want these particular harmony notes to come out. You must be singing for it to happen. You won't hear anything if you just play notes. It's not like a MIDI synthesizer. It's just saying, when I see these notes come from your keyboard, I will make that output note when you're singing. So you can control specifically what harmonies are happening. So we do get questions about how that works sometimes. So there you go, we're at the end of the harmony section.